Hello, everyone, and welcome to another empowering episode of Pep Talks with Megan de la Concha. I am your host, Megan de la Concha. Welcome back for another week. I believe this is episode 25 or 26. Gosh, I can't even remember, but it has been such a journey and been amazing. This episode is a little bit different from the past. I was actually blessed to be able to do a masterclass recently on being emotionally intelligent, and it was absolutely amazing. So I wanted to share it with the masses. Previously, it was held in more of an intimate setting, and now it is being offered live to you guys on all listening platforms. So please join me for the audio version of the masterclass, I Am Emotionally Intelligent. And why is this worth listening to? Because emotional intelligence is the gateway to living a more fulfilled and happy life. It is the key to unlocking your true potential. And inside, you will find out the reasons why and how it facilitates and promotes your own growth, relationship management, your own emotions, your happiness. It allows you to build boundaries, increase your confidence, build your resilience, and get you to those goals that you are so desiring to meet. But before we head into this, I have a special announcement. This episode is brought to you by me. That is right. My personal empowerment 6-week group coaching program has now launched. Yay! Insert applause here. I am so excited to share this with you. This has been huge on my journey. This has been months and months in the making, a lot of early mornings, a lot of late nights, and a lot of in between. However, this group coaching program is a 6-week mix of a live coaching with me, 2 lives every week, and also a do it at your own pace online course that is hosted by Teachable, along with worksheets that establish daily action items that builds confidence and increase resilience. This is for you. If you are feeling like you're struggling with your past pain, if you want to identify and break down these toxic habits and cycles that have been keeping you in your smallness, if you find it hard to forgive yourself and find grace in your life, if you desire to create daily healthy habits, if you want to write a new story for you and everybody around you in your life, if you are looking for the type of transformation that brings you in more money, that allows you to have a more fulfilled life, that discovers your true identity so that you can live happily, fully happy and at peace and enjoy in a transformed life, then this is the program for you. If you desire to uncover your soul purpose in order to build authentic confidence, if you're ready for a transformation, if you're ready to set loving boundaries that protect your peace and your energy and also yourself, then this, again, is the program for you. What you will learn is what grace is and how to apply it to all areas of your life, how to build healthy routines that support your lifestyle and your transformation, how to build your self-awareness, how to set healthy boundaries in all areas of your life, how to rewrite your story, how to discover power in your past and embrace yourself fully for who you are, past, present, and future self. It is now available. I will put the link below. You guys can just check it out. I have a couple of different amazing bonuses and payment plan offers for you guys. So check it out. The link below. We'll talk about it a lot more in the next upcoming weeks. It launches and starts on February 23rd. The cart is open until February 21st. So that gives you about 2.5 weeks. You can always visit megandelaconcha.com in order to book a discovery call and see if we're a good fit for this program. There's so much more to come. Stay tuned and enjoy this masterclass of I Am Emotionally Intelligent. All righty. So emotional intelligence is something that I feel, and I could be wrong, that's not necessarily preached across the board. If you are in leadership, if you are in administration, you know that your leadership, your executives, especially in the corporate world, go through emotional intelligence training. And so it's there for a reason, right? It's there to cultivate compassionate and effective communication. It's also learned to manage and regulate emotions. But we're going to bring it down to our level, because this is not just for executives and leadership and in professional settings. This is literally something that you have to build into your life and incorporate into your life, especially as you are pursuing personal, professional, academic goals, etc. It's across the entire board. So welcome. I am Megan De La Concha. I am your personal empowerment coach. I am also host of Pep Talks with Megan De La Concha. That is going on its 26th episode. We're already in the second season. Shout out to my podcast editor and co-producer, Riley McElwain. He does such an amazing job. My big promise to you, my whole brand is I empower women with confidence, resilience, and transformation through faith. I teach you how to break toxic cycles in your life and how to find the grace you need in order for you to become the woman you were always meant to be and live the life you were always meant to live. I know we have some guys in here, totally fine, but I serve the girls, okay? I am not an expert, but I am experienced. My purpose and my story is solely to serve you. Why? Because you are worth it. I have been there to the very, very bottom and back. And life on the other side is so empowering. It's transforming. And most of all, it is possible. So that is what I have dedicated my life's purpose to you guys. These are just a few people that I've come in contact with. All three of these people, Tamika, Janaya, and Prissa, have been amazing, beautiful women that I actually had a chance to coach for a week. It was over on a different platform. It was, a different type of coaching challenge that we did, but I had the honor to be asked to be a coach, and I had the double honor to have these amazing women under me. And this is just the type of messages that I received while working with them. I will not read them to you guys. We have other things to cover, but I just wanted to share this with you because I think it's important that you know the person that you're talking to as much as possible. It helps establish credibility and just kind of lets you know what you're going to gain just from working with me and what it is that I am able to do for you, or how I'm able to serve you, rather. This is my favorite quote from Aristotle, and it describes emotional intelligence to the core. Anybody can become angry. That is easy, right? Reacting. But to be angry with the right person and to the right degree and at the right time and for the right purpose and in the right way, that is not within everyone's power. That is not easy. So you guys, emotional intelligence is not something that we are born with. It is learned. It is a learned skill, and it's a skill that has to be exercised and practiced every single day. It is a part of practicing your mental muscle, right? So let's learn more about that. Emotional intelligence is important. The value and the benefits of developing your EQ, which I will be interchanging EQ and EI because sometimes emotional intelligence can be a little bit of a tongue twister. But so when you hear me say EI, that's obviously what I'm referring to. You guys are smart. I don't have to explain that to you. Anyway, the value and the benefits of developing your EQ are extensive and in many areas massively underutilized. Emotional intelligence is the gateway to living a more fulfilled and happy life, and here is why. Confidence. Emotional intelligence allows you to understand and manage your emotions in order to self-motivate and to create positive social interactions. It's the first step in realizing your true potential. It is impactful. The value and the benefits of EI are vast in terms of your personal, professional, and your academic success. Resilience. Individuals with higher levels of emotional intelligence are less likely to succumb to the negative impacts of stressors, while effectively helping individuals deal with negative emotions and promoting more positive emotions in its place. So that's like triple blessing right there. It's also influential. Utilizing and developing emotional intelligence in the workplace and in life can greatly improve both your job performance, relationships, and the social capabilities of individuals. It protects. Emotional intelligence is a useful skill to prevent making decisions based on emotional biases. I think we need to just read that one again. Emotional intelligence is a useful skill to prevent making decisions based on emotional biases. If that has not been the theme of 2020 and going into 2021, need I say more? No, we all need it. We just need to have an emotional intelligence class broadcast to the United States of America right now. Anyway, another conversation. Brain boost. So intellect works best when it's accompanied by high emotional intelligence. All right, I hope you guys are getting a picture of all of this. So emotional intelligence, and what is it, right? In practical terms, it means being aware that emotions can drive our behavior and can impact our actions, people, situations, circumstances, positively and negatively, and learning how to manage those emotions, both our own and others. So EI is basically referring to the ability to understand and manage emotional encounters. It's also the ability to understand, recognize, and manage our emotions and influence the emotions of others. I want to real quick say, when I say it's the ability to recognize and understand and influence the emotions of others, I am not talking about manipulating emotions of others. I am not talking about manipulating circumstances so that somebody, acts or responds in a certain way. Influencing the emotions of others means that you understand that your actions, verbal or nonverbal, has a direct influence on how somebody else feels, right? It has a direct effect on how they respond or how they react to you. So that's what I mean when I say influence. I definitely don't mean manipulate. It is said that individuals who score highly on emotional intelligence tend to be better able to handle everyday stress, foster a greater number of meaningful, close relationships, and be more socially competent in general. Individuals who are high in emotional intelligence may also be more likely to experience higher levels of well-being, or what they call optimal psychological functioning and experience. That's what I just said. Okay, so real quick, emotional intelligence involves these four different dimensions. Number one is noticing and understanding your own emotions. Number two is noticing and understanding the emotions in others. Three is effectively regulating emotions, which is the key. And four, using emotions to enhance performance. Now, for tonight's purpose, we're going to go over all these pretty brief, but the two things that I want to draw attention to is noticing and understanding your emotions and effectively regulating those emotions. Because if we cannot understand or notice our own emotions, we sure as heck cannot understand or notice the emotions or understand the emotions in other people, right? That is a fact, my friends. So every emotional dimension has certain skills that go along with it. So the first one, understanding and recognizing emotions in yourself, brings the skills of awareness of thoughts, physical sensations, and allowing emotions to be present and labeling emotions. The skill set for recognizing and understanding emotions in others is the awareness of emotional signs, decipher emotions from verbal and nonverbal signs, body language, facial expressions, even figurative expressions. Regulating emotions, those skills are choosing how to respond to emotions, thinking before acting, and separating emotion from logic. Thinking before acting. Lord knows that's a big one for me. I'm speaking for myself, but it's a big one. And then also optimizing emotions for to optimize and promote your performance is using positive emotions to enhance your performance, managing difficult circumstances, and influencing the social environment. So basically how you you handle others, right? So let's start off with the basics really quick, because we got to know this before we can even go on to understanding our own emotions. The first order of business in building your emotional intelligence is being able to identify and actually label your emotions, which surprisingly, not a lot of us can do. So those individuals with higher levels of EQ tend to have a broader emotional vocabulary and can pinpoint exactly what they are feeling and when they are feeling it. Others who are in the beginning stages of processing EQ may not be as keen on their emotions. Therefore, it makes it harder for them to label their emotions. So the saying then goes, you can't give yourself what you need if you don't know what you feel. If you don't know what you're feeling, you have no idea what recourse to take. You don't know whether you should react. Well, usually it's reaction, because we simply are just letting emotions happen to us, and we're just constantly like in a knee-jerk cycle all of the time. I know personally, I lived in a reactionary cycle for a lot of my life. That was because I had no emotional awareness. I had no emotional intelligence. I had no idea how to really label what I was feeling. And I definitely had no idea how to regulate my emotions. So speaking from experience, right? What we have to first identify our emotions. If we can't do that, then our awareness of what emotions might need to be regulated in the first place is greatly reduced. One way to build our emotional vocabulary is by paying attention to what we say or how we describe something when we are actually in that emotion. Excuse me. So for example, this is called a figurative expression. It's analogies, it's metaphors, it's considered a linguistic expression to describe the emotional state rather than naming the emotion itself. So let's play a little game. Name that emotion, drop it in the chat. I was shaking like a leaf. What emotion is that, figuratively expressing? Okay. I feel trapped. And I hit a low. All right. Let's drop that in the chat. Let me see if I can come over here. See y'all. Okay. Ah! You're so smart. You're smart. You got the smarts. Okay. You're so intelligent. But yes, I was shaking like a leaf is fear. I feel trapped is often used to express anger. And I hit a low is, you guessed it, frustration, sad. We could say depression, but depression is actually like a condition that yields emotions and feelings. So I wouldn't necessarily label, as a depression, that's like a condition. Anyway, when we find ourselves using, figurative expressions, it's important that we actually go a little bit deeper into our awareness and really pull out what it is that we're actually feeling in order to name the emotion. That is the goal. Now, let me see if I put this on a slide. I don't believe I did, but okay. So let me go back real quick because I want to give you two examples, which you guys already know, but sometimes hearing it is like, oh yeah. So an example of a low level of emotional intelligence reacting would be, keep your hands off my journal. When we learn to name our emotions, when we learn to recognize exactly and label what it is we're feeling, our communication changes, our communication shifts, it evolves. So instead of saying, keep your hands off my purse or my journal, we about to fight, it's like, I feel violated. And this is not, I feel violated when you read my journal. It's like, no, we're going to be assertive here. These are boundaries, right? So I feel violated when you read my journal because I value privacy. So what I need is a space that I know is private to record my thoughts, right? Another example. You're making this vacation exhausting and I don't want to do all the things you've planned. John, that is no shout out to my Uncle John. It's just the name that came into my head. If it were John and my Aunt Jen were to say that to him when they're on vacation, which they're about to be, FYI, she would respond to John in this way because she is understanding of what her emotions are. So she would say it like this: I feel overwhelmed when every minute of our vacation is planned. What I need is just some time to relax and see what happens. Can you see a fight coming from that? I could see a fight coming from reaction, anger, frustration, right? Stressed. I can see a fight coming from that, right? But when you're able to actually name your emotion and then you're actually able to express it and regulate it and communicate it, it's like, okay, cool. I'm cool with that. Let's go on and have a good time. So it's just simple changes like that that can create the biggest difference in all of your relationships, including the relationship with yourself. Just wanted to share a little bit of an example. I hope you guys received the message. So let's go on to understanding emotions in oneself, right? So understanding emotions in oneself is an individual who understands his emotion or is aware of his emotions. Emotional awareness requires an individual to pay attention to the physical sensations, thought, and action tendencies that accompany the emotion. So how you react versus how you respond. Emotional awareness also involves the ability to discern emotional intensity. So when people talk about their emotions, they often not only describe the nature of the emotion, but also the intensity or the duration. For example, I was very happy. I felt so sad all day long. I've been so happy lately. I've been in a really weird mood all week. So in order to understand the emotions in ourselves, we must first be able to properly label these emotions accordingly so that we can recognize them, and then we can appropriately assess the response that we want. Hello? Oh, no. Okay, great. Perfect. Okay. Noticing and understanding emotions in others. Recognition of emotions in others refers to the ability to perceive and understand the emotions of the people around us. Very self-explanatory. Now, there are verbal and nonverbal cues that all of us make. So being aware of these cues allow you to effectively pick up and manage the emotions that may be coming at you, which a lot of times, that's how we communicate with other people. And then when they don't pick up on the cues, we're mad at them because you should know by my face that I'm pissed and you shouldn't act that way, instead of being able to, verbally communicate. But we're human. It's body language. I am also expressing my excitement and my passion to you through my hand gestures, through my facial expressions, et cetera, et cetera. So verbal cues is just that. It's your speech. It refers to being able to label the emotion that you or someone else is feeling, along with other sets of nonverbal cues, which are facial expressions, body expressions, also known as body language. We all know someone, I know myself, that can tell an entire story of how they are feeling without ever saying a word. So it is important to pay attention to all the cues of somebody else, because this can guide you towards the next thing you say and the next action you take. These are like golden nuggets, okay? I got to repeat that for myself. It's important to pay attention to all cues of someone else, all cues, because this guides you, or should guide you, towards the next thing you say and don't want to regret, and the next action you take and don't want to regret, right? So in facial expressions, there's a thing called macro expression and a thing called micro expression. Macro expression is like an unfiltered expression. It's usually when you're around your close friends and your family, and the expression is your entire face. It can last up from a half of a second to 4 seconds long, right? A micro expression, we are all very familiar with these, they're fast. They actually last, I think, like a fraction of a second. And it comes from when a person is trying to conceal, deceive, or control an emotional expression. Example, you're at work, your boss, your lovely boss, makes a snarky remark at you, right? And then proceeds to give you instructions on maybe how to do something better, whatever the case may be. And, she says her remark and you're like, and then you cover it up with a smile, like, yeah. I mean, chances are she might not have picked up on that, but it's a facial expression that we are trying so hard to suppress so that we don't get fired. But those are called micro expressions. They're very hard to detect, and they're definitely used more when, in the professional world, when someone's really freaking getting on your nerves, but like you can't be disrespectful, you can't pop off on your kids, you just can't do it, okay? The 7 universal facial expressions are anger, contempt, disgust, fear, joy, sadness, and surprise. Those are all facial expressions that are, it's self-explanatory, but that are all you can recognize in every culture universally, because there's actually words. Like I believe in Poland, there is no word for disgust. So must be nice. So, a lot of times when we do label emotions, the communication and the barriers are definitely there. But body language and facial expressions, universal. All right. So again, noticing and understanding emotions in others. Body language expressions also communicates emotions like facial expressions. That pride is definitely a body language, right? Your chest is puffed out. Your head is held high. Your anger, you got your hands on your hip. Your head is tilted slightly. Your lower jaw is protruding forward. I bet you somebody is doing that right now just to see. And it's funny because when you do that, you actually can kind of like feel the emotion arise, right? So the ability to recognize, identify, and understand people's emotions is associated with better personal and social relationships that are effective and meaningful, which is what every single person on this planet is searching for, because we are social people. We want connections. We settle for superficial, crappy connections a lot of the times because we so long to be connected. It is hardwired in us. But practicing emotional intelligence will lead you to effective and meaningful relationships that are very long lasting. And it is an important part, an important aspect of optimal social and human functioning. Facts. All right, moving on to the 3 types of emotional communication. So we have expressive. The focus is yourself, and your goal is express yourself. That's it, right? The communication is directly influenced by the emotion you are expressing. Shouting because you're angry, crying because you're afraid. And then we have conventional, where the focus is the other person and the goal is to understand one another. They put it ever so nicely. It's like you're trying to get that person to understand exactly how you feel. I don't know how y'all gonna be communicating that, but that is the conventional type of emotional communication, right? When one tries to make sure the other person knows how he or she feels, telling someone you are disappointed because they didn't show up in a nice way. Rhetorical. The focus is interaction between the sender and the receiver. So the goal is a strategic communication of emotions to accomplish social goals. Example, impression management. And this is a lot in the professional world. So you're appearing, or when you're first starting to date somebody, just saying, appearing strong and genuine. Relationship management, communicating appreciation. And that's any type of relationship. And managing others' feelings, comforting or aggravating or provoking. Yeah, take a look at those. So why does this matter to me, right? So we're going to move from awareness to regulation. The ability to regulate emotions directly affects, let me read that again. The ability to regulate emotions directly affects mental health. It establishes boundaries, it increases confidence, and it builds resilience. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. It certainly does. And that was an amazing question that you just asked. So when you are able to recognize, identify, and understand your own emotions, number one, you are able to regulate those emotions and use them to positively influence the growth of your personal and your professional goals. Regulating emotions in oneself. That refers to an individual's attempt to increase, maintain, or decrease positive and negative emotions. Being able to effectively regulate your emotions is crucial as it directly relates to positive outcomes in your mental health, your personal success, your relationship satisfaction, and work performance. Who knew? So in fact, studies show that a chronic deficit in emotional regulation contributes to all major forms of psychopathology. And psychopathology is a term that refers to either the study of mental illness or mental distress, or the manifestation of behaviors and experiences which may be indicative of a mental illness or a psychological impairment. Many studies have been done studying material research with the emotional intelligence and the connection to mental illness or distress. It's very fascinating, actually. So when we regulate emotions to help us reach our own goals, for instance, we may regulate emotions to reach and accomplish an emotional goal, such as feeling happy or reducing anxiety. We also regulate emotions to realize instrumental goals, such as avoiding conflict with others. So in theory, we regulate our emotions in ways that will help us achieve these different goals that we just said, right? The emotional goals, the instrumental goals. So for example, a person who feels sad may focus on things that he or she is grateful for in order to feel happy again. Do you see how that is like a type of regulation? And I'm sure we all do that, but maybe we just hadn't put it into this form of this is actually us practicing, regulating our emotions. So now that you're aware that there's actually a method to your madness, we can actually think of things, outside of just reacting. And it's so powerful when you shift your perspective and you think, okay, you understand what you're doing. You're aware of the method of what you're doing in order to reach these specific goals. It's crazy that we automatically do that, but there actually is a method to it. It is actually something that we label and that we do. So let's move on to the different forms of emotional regulation. This is so important. Okay, let's go. The different emotional regulation strategies are categorized based on what they are attempting to change, right? So there are strategies that focus directly on changing the intensity of an emotion, such as suppression, distraction, and in order to reduce an intensity of a fear, a person may try to suppress the thought of an upcoming stressful event. I was practicing this strategy earlier today. It's not because I feared this, but I get nervous about it. So I was like, let me listen to some worship music. Let me distract myself. So there you go, personal example. And then some strategies focus on altering the individual's perspective. So these strategies focus on looking at the emotional state or trigger from a different angle. After making a mistake, instead of dwelling on the regret, the individual reframes their mind as the mistake is something to learn from, right? And that takes so much awareness, you guys. It takes so much intelligence to do that, because a lot of times we just want to pop off. And I know, I'll be danged, but all it takes is one thing to happen. And it was like my resilience, like I couldn't cope with like anything that was out of the ordinary. And I would just, and I would break down, and I would, be variously texting my husband or my parents, or, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just venting and this and that. But I was going off, and it just spiraled, right? It spiraled all the way down. And I'll use a quick example. My car was having trouble starting. My Purpose to Platform sisters who are on here will remember this. My car was having trouble starting for no rhyme or reason. And I had gone to the grocery store, which luckily is like 2 streets over. It's very walkable. But I had my toddler with me. And I went in, and I knew as soon as I shut the car off, I was like, it's probably not going to start. Oh, well, let's go in, get our stuff, come out. Sure enough, didn't start. Tried, didn't start. I was getting so angry, and I was crying. I was like, God, please just let it start. What's wrong? Like, why are you doing this? Like, total breakdown. I had to compose myself, and in a matter of seconds, by the way. And I realized I had the stroller in the trunk. I had only gotten a few things of groceries. I took the stroller out. I plopped my toddler in there. I put the groceries underneath, locked that car, and I walked home. And a shift happened in me, because the old Megan would have been like, this is a bunch of crap. I would have been calling my husband like, you need to come get me, or, this, that, just like, okay, relax, woman. But instead, naturally, I was just like, you know what? It's a beautiful day out, and I've been trying to lose some weight, so I'm getting my walk in, right? And it was like the rest of the day was just beautiful. I couldn't care less that my car was overstuck at Publix. I knew I was going to get it out at some point. It wasn't forever. But the point is that when you shift or reframe your mind, it totally shifts the energy of your day, of you. Then I wasn't taking it out on my younger one. Like if we got home and he spilled something and, you're harboring all these feelings, and you're focusing on, the car and what it's going to cost and this and that and blah, blah, blah. The list goes on, right? So it was like you cut it off right then and there. You reframe your mind and boom, you are on your way. And it's like, okay, what's next? That's done. I'm not dwelling on it. It's done. It's next, right? So emotional regulation strategies can focus on changing the individual's relationship with the emotion at hand. Acceptance-based coping, which is the RAD method I'm about to teach you, and meditation are examples of strategies that do not aim to reduce the intensity of the emotion, but rather focus on the person's ability and willingness to allow an emotion to be present. This is my favorite strategy, okay? So here we go, people, right in. This is the RAD method. Recognize, acknowledge, accept, and assess, and dismantle. I have come up with this methodology on my own. If y'all take it, I'm gonna come for you, okay? I actually was doing this way before I realized what it was I was doing. And this was after an abusive and toxic relationship. This was after, therapy and putting in the hard freaking work it takes to really rebuild who you are and to really change every aspect about your mindset. But as I was going through this methodology, because this is an example of what I share in my private coaching sessions, I have a few clients, and this is the type of thing that I share with them to do, and they practice this. And that is, this acceptance-based coping strategy. So let's get right into it, because this has really, really helped me, honestly, with my anxiety. I was on medication for about 2 or 3 years, and I've been off it for about 3 years successfully. Yes, things come my way. I may feel a little anxious at times, but I can really nip it in the bud. I've been off all of my medication. I don't supplement with anything else. Just self-care, sleep, love, good food, maybe some wine, probably some whiskey, right? All good stuff. All right, let's keep it moving, Megan. Okay. So the RAD method. So types of emotional regulation, such as suppression, ironically result in the very emotional outcome that people aim to avoid, and often at a higher intensity and for a longer duration. We all know that. When you push down a feeling so much, it is going to blow up like a volcano, and we say things that we regret, we do things that we regret, and a lot of times it can be life-changing decisions. You can end a relationship on something. You can end a career on something like that. You can damage relationships. You can damage yourself. I mean, it's wild, right? So this is why emotional intelligence, emotional regulation is so, so important. So the RAD method is an acceptance-based coping method, which allows the individual to accept the emotion that you're feeling, allow it to exist, and name the emotion, right? Practicing this method also increases the willingness of the individual to label the emotion by recognizing it, not by fearing it, resisting it, suppressing it, putting it down. We are not doing that anymore. We are grown folk. We are grown people. We are leveling up our lives, okay? We're not playing small anymore. Well, I'm afraid. I don't want to be that way. We're not doing that. I'm done. And you're done too. So let me explain what the process looks like. The RAD process model is, quite frankly, this. Ground zero, the emotional trigger. 1, I'm going to recognize that, baby. I see you. 2, hi, I acknowledge you. 3, be gone, we're dismantling. And then 4, a beautiful outcome, which is responding. That is the process of what we're about to go through. So R is so simple, you guys. It's recognizing, It's naming, it's the shift, the trigger, the emotion, right? Not ignoring it. We're recognizing, we're going to call it out. Hey, what's up, anger? I see you. Yeah, I do. Okay. And it's also called like our intuitive response. Not necessarily trusting your feelings, but that it's like that gut feeling like, that didn't settle with me quite right. Or something she said just kind of hit me the wrong way. You find yourself saying these things, right? Or like, that was really weird. It left me kind of with an uncomfortable feeling. Or I just feel like something's off. That is true. Trust that. Go with that. That is actually even the number one way that you start to establish boundaries. More on that later. So you're also going to recognize your physical sensations. Are your hands clenching with anxiety? Is your heart starting to pound? Is your breathing getting shallow? Is your vision, is your focus? Does it feel like your nerves are about to be on fire and God forbid anybody blink at you the wrong way? Like, okay, so we need to be aware of that. So that is recognize. That's R. Just simply recognize it, right? So we're going into acknowledge, and acknowledge is like the powerhouse. It's the meat of the situation. It's empowering, right? This is when you're like, all right, bring it. And A stands for so many things: acknowledge, accept, assess. This allows you the room to explore and access the emotion before you take action. Before. So you allow the emotion to be present. And not only that, you're able to observe the emotion outside of you, right? So when you do that, you're able to maintain a sense of curiosity. You're able to kind of explore that emotion, which means asking yourself what is really causing the emotion versus what external factors may have magnified it or, exacerbated the symptom, right? So what I like to do is, we're all visual learners. What I like to do is, when I'm practicing this, or even just thinking, if you even want to just think about a time that you got really angry or whatever the emotion is. I know I'm going to anger. I'm not an angry person. I'm not sure why. But I think it's just an easy emotion. We can all relate. It's universal. So when you take the duck, or let me explain. I imagine the emotion being like a rubber ducky, right? And it's there. Okay, I see you. I'm going to let you breathe. I'm going to allow you to exist. You have the power in that. You have the choice in that. You are not letting the emotion happen to you, right? You are allowing the emotion to happen for you, because there's a learning experience out of this. This is an opportunity to grow, okay? So we're going to take the duck, the emotion, and we're placing it outside of ourselves, right? Into a pool. So we got a little pool, because we're not throwing it away. We're not ignoring it. Right? We're gonna address the situation. So you put the duck in the pool, and there you can watch it. You can let go. It's not in you. You don't have to let it affect you. You can look at it outside, right? So this, again, you explore. Why are you here? Really? Why are you here? Let's get down to the emotional root of it. Because here's the thing. Let's say you got in a fight with your husband in the morning, or your wife, or your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, best friend, roommate. Let's say you dropped the kids off at school and you yelled at them, right? You yelled at them right as you were dropping them off. Or maybe you're stressed about a bill that's due, or there's a decision that's looming over your head that you have to make a decision about, right? You have to come to an answer. These are all personal. I've gone through every single one of these, and I'm sure you guys have too. But that is the actual emotional root. Now, the external factor is you're driving to work. So that just happened. You're driving to work. Some jerk cuts you off in traffic. You just got done listening to your praise and worship, and now you're flipping the bird at him. You're yelling expletives. I think I said that right. You're cussing at him. You're going off, right? Amen. Thank you, God. I mean, come on. So that, and then you go to work, right? So what the fallout is of that is that you release this emotion because you didn't address it in the first place. So you release the emotion, you hold on to it, you think it over and over and over. It ruins your day. You tell everyone, I'm in a bad mood because some guy cut me off, this and that. I can't believe it. I had to slam on my brakes, right? You're blaming the external factor rather than the emotional root. So when you're able to name the emotional root and then you're able to explore that root, then you are able to fully assess what the issue is at hand and then move on to decide what your action is, right? What action do you want to have to associate with this emotion? Do you want to let it go? Do you want to take action? Do you want to remain angry? Because let me tell you something. This is not a kumbaya, everything's good. Yeah, hey, great. Yeah, great. We're good. No. This is real life. We're human. We have human experiences. If you want to be mad, because let's face it, sometimes it feels really good to be mad. Okay? If y'all disagree with me, y'all lying. It feels good to be mad. You just want to be mad, right? That's fine. That is your right. That is your choice to be mad. Anger has the right to exist just as much as happiness and joy. It's an emotion, right? It's just on a different scale. It's not even the emotion itself. It's the feelings that are attached to the emotion. So we name anger, fear, disgust, negative. We name peace and joy and happy, positive, right? That's just us trying to, really just gain an understanding, gain a logical sense of emotions. But it has nothing to do with the word. It has to do with the feelings that are associated with it. So if you want to be angry, cool, be angry. Do not take it out on anybody else. It is not their problem. You made that choice. And that's okay. That's your choice to make. That's the beauty of this, is you are so empowered in your life that you get to make these different choices. So cool, be angry. If you want to lay in bed all day, that's fine. Do not take it out on your partner. Do not take it out on your coworker. Don't take it out at the bank teller or Jimmy John's or whatever. They got your sandwich wrong. Don't know why I said that, but you get the point. It's not your right. It is your right to feel the emotion. It is your right to feel it however you want to feel it. But the point is that you recognize it, you acknowledge it, and you get over it. Okay? That's the end goal, is we're getting over it. Whether that's, give me 24 hours and I'll be okay. Or you know what? It really didn't mean anything. I'm over it. I'm not going to carry this with me. That is being intelligent. That is being emotionally intelligent. All right. Let's keep it moving because I told you I could talk. Okay. So moving on to D. D is dismantle. So this is where you get to decide if you want to let go of the emotion, realizing that it has a short life, breathe in, breathe out, let it go, move on. Whether you want to manage the emotion in an effective way, which means communicate the issue in a compassionate and effective manner with your partner, sitting down with your kids and apologizing, but also explaining what made you tick. Or if it's personal, you decide the change that you want to make. You get to decide the action steps that you want to make according to the emotion that you have assessed, right? So if it's a financial issue, call the bank, ask for help, finally get on that budgeting plan, take that budgeting course, educate yourself about financial wisdom, about financial health, et cetera, et cetera. The best thing that you can do if you're fearful of something that you don't understand, you educate yourself on it. You find out about it, right? We fear what we don't know. And fear breeds anger and uncertainty and frustration and confusion. So, hello, let's battle that. Let's take action steps to battle that fear, right? To make it so that it doesn't exist. That's finding power in your emotions, okay? So when you're able to recognize or to implement this emotional regulation strategy, you build your emotional intelligence and are able to use your emotions in ways that allow you to successfully live in line with your values and reach your goals. All right, guys, you're sticking with me and I love it. And we're going to go through this. So the value and the benefits of this method, because it's like, okay, I did that, but what am I like? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Okay. Relationship management. Let's move on to that. When you understand how the expression of your emotion influences others, you're able to manage and control the communication between you and the other person. When you express an emotion to another person, it can cause the other person to experience the same emotion. Example, if a person who expresses anger may lead the other person witnessing the anger to feel fear. A person who expresses gratitude may evoke feelings of pride in the receiver, right? So this is how one's emotions can be used to influence one's social environment, not manipulate, influence, right? And emotionally intelligent people can use the skill to move towards personal goals, better communication in relationships, project management, relationship with children, families, etc. It also builds boundaries. Let me get this slide right here. So emotional intelligence helps you discern what your needs and your values are. Emotions can be perceived as an internal data, right? So again, here's the intuition, trusting your gut instinct. When you use the RAD method to recognize and bring awareness to the emotion, you can dismantle or use this to discover the information that can tell you about how you are living in line with your personal values and goals. Again, if it doesn't feel good, if talking to that person left you feeling weird, the chances are they're pushing boundaries or you're stretching over your boundaries, okay? So use that to your advantage. So for instance, negative emotions like fear can inform you that something valuable is under threat. Shame or regret can inform you that actions are not in line with your values and goals. This directly helps you with boundaries. The RAD method can also increase your confidence. So positive emotions like joy or gratitude may signal that you're living in alignment with your values and goals, etc. Feeling happy about a certain task that brought you joy, that you got it completed, not just the joy and relief that it's done, but it's the actual project that you were doing that brought you that organic electric energy that you never get tired of doing. Just like this, I could go on for days. This is what I am passionate about. I love it. This is like 3 espressos for me. I'm going to be up all night. So positive emotions expand what is called a thought action repertoire. And newsflash, we have homework. Y'all thought I wasn't going to give you something to do? Yeah. So it's going to actually be a thought action exercise that builds positive emotions. So the thought action repertoire, it encourages an upward spiral of positive emotions, meaning it expands creativity, such as outside the box thinking, increases problem solving skills, generates creative solutions towards goal related challenges. And the RAD method, my people, also builds resilience, which ding, 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 key friggin' word of 2020, resilience. Coping is the generation of positive emotions can also help one cope with setbacks on the road to one's goal. So when you understand your positive emotions and you tap into it, you are able to use this knowledge and adapt resourcefully in response to negative stimuli. Amen. Meaning you're less likely to succumb. I'm sorry, I make myself sometimes like, shut up, Megan. Meaning, you are less likely to succumb to the negative impact of outside stressors. You're more resilient to change. You're more, you can effectively cope with negative emotional experiences, which has been the highlight of 2020. God bless it. Resilience also allows you to regulate negative emotional situations by eliciting positive emotions such as humor, relaxation, hopeful and optimistic thinking. Example, promoting positive emotions in place of negative ones. So this is especially important when you are progressing towards a goal, whether it's personal or professional in your life, career, and relationship, because having resilience allows you to cope more effectively and successfully with roadblocks on the way. And we all know as we progress into who we truly are and we progress into those goals that we desire and there's no holding back, resistance and roadblocks are going to come, right? Like preach it. Woo, they come. But when you're emotionally intelligent and you build that resilience, it's like, okay, I see you. Let's handle it. We can get through this, right? We can get through this. So it really makes a difference. It doesn't thwart you off your goals. So many times we want to give up because we hit our first roadblock and we're like, oh, forget it. You know, it's like, no, what do we need? What type of mental strength do we need to get through this? Because there's no around it. There's no under it. There's no over it. I have tried. It's just through. You just got to suck it up and go through it. But you need to have that mental stamina. You need to have that coping skills. You need to have resilience. And that only builds and builds and builds. This is stuff that I teach you guys. I love this. This is how I rebuilt and with a lot of different help, outside help, internal help, faith, this is really what helped me get to who I am today. And this is why I love teaching this stuff, because it's true and it works. And nobody deserves to stay in their smallness, stay hurt, stay insecure, stay, in their comfortable. No, you have it. You have it in you. I'm going off on a tangent, but you guys have it in you. We just have to build it, right? We just have to build it. It is there. You are possible. That's not my closing, so don't go anywhere. Emotionally intelligent people better use positive emotions to optimize their performance. Expressing emotions is impossible if one is not aware of one's emotions. In order to use the awareness of our emotions, we must also be able to regulate them. With awareness and regulation, we are then able to realize our true potential. We just don't react. We just don't fall to pieces and emotions are just going all over the place. Not anymore. Right? It can help us realize our true potential. It can facilitate goal achievement in all areas of your life and start our course to leading and living a more fulfilled and happy life. Come on, right? At the end of the day, the very end of the day, like I just said, expressing emotions is impossible if one is not aware of one's emotions, right? We want to all live and lead a happy, more fulfilled life. And this is exactly the kind of things that you can do little by little. It doesn't have to be a huge leap. It doesn't have to be a huge jump. It doesn't have to be scary. It's going to be scary because as you move forward into things that aren't certain and unknown, see, when you stay back in your comfort zone, it's predictable, right? It's predictable. You get comfortable in the struggle. You get comfortable because you know what to expect. Same song and dance over and over again. So when you decide to step out of that and truly into who you are and the life that you want, and the life that you were meant to live, it gets uncomfortable. But that's okay, because when you build certain strategies like this, when you build emotional intelligence, it's forever. Once you have it, you do not lose it. And it just builds and it builds and it builds. And it pushes you further and further and further into the life that you want, into the person you want to be, okay? All right. And there you guys have it. The official podcast version of the masterclass, I Am Emotionally Intelligent. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something today. I hope you guys were able to take something with you that you could start applying to your life today, or maybe even if it's not something that you're ready to take action on, but something that you just you have a deeper awareness of how your emotions, how they affect you, your life, your decisions, the impact that they have on you and others, and how you really can control your environment. You can keep your energy, you can keep your peace, you can build boundaries, increase confidence, create resilience, all through practicing emotional intelligence. Remember, it is a skill that is to be practiced day in and day out, and we're all going to have our days where we just react, and that is okay. It is important that we also show ourselves grace and patience and mercy to be able to just pick back up and say, you know what? I reacted, but I know better, and to move on, to let it go, and to move forward. So speaking of grace, again, my new group coaching program, Ashes to Grace, is now open for enrollment. I will include the link down in the show notes. Click on it and you will find everything you need to know about this amazing program. Enrollment does end on February 21st, and we start learning and we start our transformation on February 23rd. If you have any questions, please hit me up on social media. You can email me, visit my website, or you can leave a comment on here. Have a wonderful, empowering week, you guys.